and welcome back to Mikey Reacts. Really happy to have you back here. Today we're reacting to Army Rangers smoked some Crips in 1989. This should be interesting. I'm really excited to see this. I also do believe, I'm assuming this happened for real. It should, otherwise it's just false information, but it's got 19 million views and it was posted a year ago. So it's probably got some validity to it, hopefully. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and leave comments down below. Every subscription, every like, every comment, believe it or not, helps this channel grow. And you guys are doing an amazing job of supporting this channel, and I really want to thank you all. Also, don't forget to have a look down below in the description. You're going to find my Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon, where you're going to find a bit more political content and sort of me talking on issues that are more relevant to American society, politics and culture today, and like socioeconomic discussions and stuff like that, which I find really important. So let's get to this video. I really hope you enjoy it. Obviously we're all rooting for the Rangers, but I think we know that they'll win. So let's have a look. There might be some.
An Army Ranger who had just purchased a home on one of Tacoma, Washington's most gang-infested streets quickly became a witness to various illegal activity happening out front of his home. He wasn't shy of confronting it or notifying the authorities, and soon after, he became the target of one of the most notorious street gangs Washington State has ever seen.
And I hate this stuff. I really hate gangs, but you know what? If you mess with an Army Ranger, they think they're all hard and they're all brutal, whatever it may be, but you don't have anything on trained Army Rangers, man. What are you doing?
After shaking up the hornet's nest one too many times, his home was ambushed by the Hilltop Crips gang, but not before he invited 15 of his Ranger buddies over for a barbecue. 300 rounds, and 10 minutes later, the Crips were fighting for their lives.
Good. Screw him.
In 1989, the neighborhood of Ash Street in Tacoma, Washington was an open-air drug market. There were several hotspots and almost every house on the block was an active and thriving trap house. These gang infestations in the 1980s, born from the crack epidemic, flooded the streets and created an economic downturn that defined the decade. You might remember President Ronald Reagan declaring the war on drugs, or his first lady who was just like, just say no, oh my God. That was this time. Tacoma was Washington State's ground zero of gang activity. And by the summer of 1989, it had grown blatant, middle of the day type shit, like selling crack to the ice cream man type shit. And this was all fueled by an influx of gang members moving in from California. Tacoma police had experienced nothing like it before and were really struggling to get it under control, oftentimes not even knowing how to respond to it. Ash Street neighbors consistently,
you know how you respond to it? With violence.
Called police and
I'm not saying unwarranted violence, but these gang members carry guns and they cause mass decimation and they ruin lives and they kill other gang members and they just cause horrible things in the street. So just respond in kind.
Called 911 repeatedly and got nowhere. The typical response from police at the time was very mild. Community-oriented policing was a new thing, such as taking bullshit calls and pretending like it's not bullshit.
Yes, ma'am. I know you can't sleep when the dogs are barking.
But community policing was still viewed with suspicion by veteran cops who came up in the 60s and preferred the old ways, like smacking people in the head with their portable radios. At the time, Tacoma Police Chief Ray Fatelin pushed these new community policing programs so far that the Hilltop Crip gang rose to power.
When the OGs from Westwood like HT6, moving out of the streets 200 deep, in the park things had a shootout with cats from Ash. When the Ashes connected with them Hilltop niggas.
Yeah, he's an idiot. These people are idiots. Especially because they seem to be using a word that was used for centuries to degrade them, and now they've adopted it as a term of endearment. How stupid can you be?
Staff Sergeant William Folk of the 2nd Ranger Battalion 75th Ranger Regiment purchased his home on Ash Street in hopes that the neighborhood would soon turn around. To protect that investment, he was determined to help push the drugs and gangs out by any means necessary, which may seem crazy to most people, but Staff Sergeant Folk was not most people. No. He was an elite operator who at a moment's notice could hit hard and smash fucking everything. You know, Ranger shit. But violence was the last thing the staff sergeant wanted, and he remained optimistic. In the summer of 1989, Folk returned from a December deployment in Panama to find the neighborhood worse than when he left. Along with other neighbors who were honest, hardworking people, he formed a neighborhood group that pressed police, demanding action. The neighbors started making signs, protesting, and taking pictures of the drug dealers. Even as the tension on Ash Street rose, Chief Fatelin made a decision he would later regret. Hamstrung by budget constraints and desperately short on the patrol side, he shifted 4 of 6 officers away from the Hilltop Crime Management Team to launch a community policing pilot project. The neighbors on Ash Street reacted with dismay. Under fire from citizens and the city council, a local Tribune covered the controversy, noting efforts by Ash Street neighbors to monitor the drug activity themselves. After the news themselves.
A group of a dozen neighbors who live in the area of South 23rd Ash Street said they were on the verge of vigilante action because police failed to curtail drug dealing around their homes. The News Tribune, September 21st, 1989. So that was 2 days before the shooting happened, then I'm assuming.
After the News Tribune piece, drug traffic on Ash Street slowed, but only so much. Staff Sergeant Folk was used to seeing more than 100 cars pass through his block on any given day, and after the story appeared, it was down to 20 cars. Folk decided to install a video camera in his upstairs window to record the traffic. He organized a neighborhood barbecue as a show of public unity set for 3 p.m. Saturday, September 23rd. He invited neighbors, friends, ranger buddies, and thought nothing more of it. The day of the barbecue, a group of Hilltop Crip gangbangers acknowledged Folk outside of his residence and gave him the gun finger. It came from a car full of Crips. Driving by his house, the index finger pointed, thumb up, a little flip of the hand, and the mouthed words, boom, boom.
Monday.com makes scams great again. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to say again, because they never were.
Okay.
The gangsters saw the video camera on Folk's house, and a few hours later they returned and threw rocks at it. Someone else took shots at the house and the video camera with a BB gun. Folk and a few ranger buddies then walked across the street, told them to stop throwing things at his home and the neighbors' homes, to stop shooting BBs, and to instead turn their lives around and find better ways.
That's it,
the
man.
gangbangers warned him to take the camera out of his window. The gangbangers suggested the staff sergeant didn't know who he was dealing with. The staff sergeant suggested the gangbangers didn't know who they were dealing with.
Yeah.
They then told him, "Your history, bitch," and told him they were going to burn his house down and light him up as soon as the sun goes down. Folk decided to walk away, and before he returned to his home, he overheard one of the Crips stating, "I'm going to shoot that army son of a bitch." Folk then walked inside his house. He picked up his telephone, called...
Hey man, not only are these people criminals, right, but what I find incredibly ridiculous, you know, they're unpatriotic. You want to attack someone who risks their life for the United States? Come on, guys. You know, it's ridiculous. Unpatriotic, criminal, just morally corrupt in every single way.
More of his ranger buddies from the 2nd Ranger Battalion and invited them over for a barbecue, suggesting it wouldn't hurt if they came armed. With translation, bring your own bullets. Hey guys, let's have a barbecue. Okay, well, yeah, what are we gonna smoke? Just some Crips.
Don't like why they call them bullets, because a bullet is the projectile of the round, and you have the entire round. So maybe a more accurate thing, probably he said, being a ranger, bring your own ammo. So.
Including the few rangers who were already at the barbecue and the rangers called, the total of rangers grew to 15. Folk told them to bring personal weapons and whatever else they had. They came armed to the teeth with handguns, shotguns, and rifles. Folk was armed with a Browning 9mm and a Colt Python 357 Magnum. Fucking Magnum. Who's the gangster now, bitch? Over a couple beers, Folk...
I think it's pretty common.
To his buddies, a defensive operation of his home. Stake out locations and wait, no first moves. If police come, disarm immediately, cooperate, and assist. And all of his buddies joyfully agreed and were fucking down. They thought maybe nothing will happen, but if it does, Zero tolerance for dudes shooting gats and smoking Swisher Sweets. As the sun went down, the Rangers dispersed into their defensive positions, alert and observant of any and all activity inside and outside the perimeter of the house. A few hours had passed as the Rangers held their positions. One Ranger observed a vehicle approaching in the distance at a slow rate of speed, at which point the vehicle shut off its headlights. Folk, with his magnum in hand, returned the favor and turned out the lights in his house and in the yard. At 9:20 p.m., as the vehicle approached, someone within the vehicle fired a shot into the air. The house was now taking fire from the rear, where, according to police reports, small caliber automatic gunfire was heard. The Rangers opened a shit ton of fire, but so did the Hilltop Crips. One of the Rangers, William Edwards, was posted on the front porch. When the shooting started, he hit the ground as a bullet slammed into the wall beside him. He and other Rangers returned fire, seeing figures running among parked cars on the other side of the street. Ranger Russell Nolte, posted in the backyard, crawled forward as a shot hit the back of the house 3 feet over his head. Ranger Burr Settles was posted upstairs by the infamous controversial fucking video camera as a shot came through the window. The bullet grazed his head and he received multiple lacerations on his face from the shattered glass. Numerous muzzle flashes were now seen from the east. There were at least 16 shooters in 3 different locations. The Rangers again returned fire, while outside the assailants took cover amongst the parked cars, shooting over their shoulders, ducking down.
One inconsistency that I'm not too sure about, it seems that there are 4 positions, 4 defensive positions in the property, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, or no. Or was it 4 from the front and then they have multiple in the back? I thought there were 15 Rangers.
Shooting blindly, stupid shit like that, like gangsters do. At this time, a neighbor taking cover on her kitchen floor dialed 911. And just like the famous Wild West shootout at the OK Corral, it was over in minutes. 10 minutes, to be exact. The first police car came down the middle of the street, cherries and berries on, with his siren blaring. The Rangers dropped their weapons, but as that first patrol car arrived on scene, one of the Hilltop Crip gang members popped a round off, sending the patrol car reversing out of the scene so quickly, smoke was seen coming from the rear tires. Officers in the car reported hearing 50 to 60 shots in less than 1 minute. Shortly after, more cops pulled into the block, and the gangbangers ran.
To avoid such surprises, just look for the True Check badge and get real prices, real photos, real properties.
Okay, the aftermath.
The unarmed staff sergeant walked out the back door to his driveway and the alley behind his house. He felt someone behind and didn't fight. A hand shoved his head down and a voice ordered him to the ground. One gang member by the name of Frankie Strickland was cornered by a police canine and found to be in possession of 16 rounds of 9mm. He said he was holding them for a friend, but couldn't remember the friend's name. Like a fucking liar. He also said the same thing about the pistol he was carrying. It was for a friend. Another suspect was carrying copper-headed rounds for a gas gun. Once the situation was under control and the officers learned about the Rangers' defensive operation, the responding sergeant of the Tacoma Police Department wasn't too happy about it. He lectured Folk and the other Rangers for not calling the police for assistance until shots were fired.
Yeah, but when shots were fired and the police came, they literally got out of there, so...
And felt that the situation may have been avoided by calling 911 prior to the shooting getting started. Out of what was quite possibly a 35-man gunfight with over 300 rounds shot in the dark, no one was reported to be killed or injured. For 20 years, the official version of the shootout held that miraculously no one was hurt, but there are rumors injured gang members did not seek medical attention for obvious reasons, and some may have even been mortally wounded. And according to Folk himself, during the firefight, one gang member rushed towards Folk's house. I guess he thought he was gonna John Wayne it, Folk remembered. One of the Rangers took aim and hit the gangster in the shoulder. The attacker staggered back and ran away. The moment goes unmentioned in police reports and witness accounts of the time. Unverified gossip holds that the wounded man was treated at a Seattle area hospital over an hour away from Tacoma.
Okay.
Doug Sutherland, who was mayor at the time, pondered a declaration of a citywide version of martial law to combat the gang violence that immediately drew national attention. The city of Tacoma found the dollars to add more police officers to their department. Then Governor Booth Gardner even considered sending in the National Guard to Ash Street.
Honestly, you should. Like, I'm not for martial law in most circumstances, but this is ridiculous.
Hilltop Crip gang member who was arrested and found in possession of the 9mm and the pistol, Frankie Strickland, was the only man charged in connection with the shootout. He was convicted of second-degree assault and was later sentenced to 22 months in prison.
Not long enough.
The military officially considered the incident a matter of self-defense for the off-duty Rangers. On February 9th, 2010, Tacoma police and FBI launched a major crackdown on the Hilltop Crip gang and charged 32 members with up to 50 crimes, everything from theft to attempted murder and drug sales. A few years back, a Tacoma police officer said something about the shootout. He said it was the single most important incident in Tacoma that caused a change in police policies and practices.
Wow. Europe, and same thing with crack. It is just mostly weed and coke and stuff like MDMA and stuff like that. Fentanyl really isn't a thing in Europe as much as it is in the US. But that, again, that level of organized gang activity, although present, and I've seen it, in London, it's nowhere near what that level is. That would never happen in the UK. You would never get a gang of 40 men shooting at a house. That wouldn't happen. Not because they don't have guns, because of course they have guns. Guys, guns can be purchased anywhere, especially if there are laws which prevent people from getting guns. You think these 35, 40 Crips had their guns legally? Of course not. Anyway, but yeah, that's mad. Don't mess with Rangers. I think it's a shame that he was never promoted and he left in 1993 from the army. I don't think he did anything wrong. Okay, fair enough, it is sort of vigilante action to a certain extent, but he didn't go out looking for the trouble. They came to him and he stayed in his own home and defended his home, which is perfectly fine. That is what the Second Amendment is there for. Had this been in any other country, I think it would have ended in a very different way. So you have to thank your forefathers, the forefathers of the United States of America, for that right, which I think is a very important right. I just find the behaviour of these gang members to be ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Like, my personal opinion, if you form a gang, if you're part of a gang, no matter what your crime is, I don't think it should be less than 5-year sentence. Pretty much for anything, to be honest. Theft is theft until I think it becomes part of a gang. And it's like now organised theft, organised crime. We're talking about it should be 5 years minimum. I believe in harsher sentences for stuff like that. But yeah, guys, that was really, really cool story. Amazing guy, amazing group of men. Rangers, any military, really, they portray an amazing amount of honor and courage, and that showed right there. And of course, the training shines through as well, because so few stood against quite a few, very many. And I guess you can't. Well, I mean, they won really, because a lot of the others were arrested. Well, not a lot of them, but a few were arrested, and they defended their home. So, pretty cool story, guys. Pretty cool. You don't mess with the US Army even when they're off duty. So there you are. That's it. That was pretty cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below with anything else I should react to, or any information that you guys have about this, because this is the first time I'm listening to it. So if you guys have any other info on this, anything I should check out, any different sources, let me know, because it'd be really, really interesting to do that. And above all, have a great day, and thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to check out my other channels, so my Instagram, my Twitter, and my Patreon. They have great stuff on there that you will absolutely love, so don't forget to do that. And guys, I will see you on the next video. Have a fantastic day.